Hello, this is DID4 Guy. I'm back. This is, I think, the fifth video that I've done today. I've been doing problem from the March 2020 SAT, and this one is not going to include anything about the calculator or program. This is a test-taking strategy that I think is important for students to use when they're taking the SAT, ACT, PSAT, those exams. The strategy is, when you're not given a drawing, sometimes it's really helpful to make one on your own. So that's one of the first things that I usually tell my students. The other thing is, if you're given a problem that's nebulous and it doesn't give you a lot of details, sometimes it's better to use like real numbers. Instead of using variables, why don't you plug in and use real numbers and see if that makes the problem more concrete and easier to solve. So here's the question that I wanted to focus on. I was working with one of my students, and we were talking about this question, and I asked him if he thought it was difficult, and he said it was, and I asked him why. And he said that he wasn't given any points to plot or any numbers to graph, and so it was kind of hard for him. And I said, well, that's true, but if they don't give you numbers or a graph or things to plot, that doesn't mean that you can't create your own numbers and things to plot. And so that's what I recommend to him, and I actually would recommend to other students. So let's try this problem. It says the function f is defined for all real numbers, and the graph y equals f of x in the xy plane is a line. That's a key piece of information. Is a line with a negative slope. That's another key piece of information. It says, which of the following keywords here must be true? Not could be true, not might be true, but must be true. So it has to be true for every single situation, not occasionally, not sometimes, but every single one. So what we're going to do is, and what I'm going to recommend is, I'm going to draw some lines, and then I'm going to look at some inputs and see if I can make one of these conditions false. And if I can make it false, then I can eliminate it. If I can't make it false, then that means it might be true. All right, so let's go. I created a graph here. So I got some graphing paper. I have the conditions over here. And what I want to do is, first thing is, I know we're dealing with lines, and I know that they're going to be negative slope. So here's one of the lines that I'm going to create. That's one. All right, now I'm going to try to create another line. I'm going to do it a different color, and we're going to go here. All right, so two things. They have different slopes, and they have different y-intercepts. Not sure if that'll make a difference or not, but that's just something that I would probably do anyway. So now what I'm going to do is, first of all, let me clean this up a little bit so that we can see what we're doing over here. All right, so first thing, it says, if A is less than B, then f of A must be greater than f of B. So let's see about that. So they didn't tell us what the values are, so we're going to choose one. So I'm going to say, one of the inputs is, let's say it's a -1. So I'm going to say x equals a -1. So this is an input. And then I'm going to choose another number over here. Let's say, and I will say that this is 2. Or actually, let's say this is a -2. And let's say this is a +2. So now, so the input, this one is -2 is less than a +2. So what they're saying is that f of a -2, which would be right here, is greater than f of a +2. And it is. You can see that the output is greater than this output. So this one is actually true. Now let's look at this second line. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go and find out for this blue line, f of a -2, here's the output, and here's the output for f of 2 right here. And as you can see, this output is still larger than this output. So it looks like number one might be true. Just because we found two examples where it worked, it doesn't mean that it's absolutely true, but it definitely might be true. So let's go and look at the next ones and see if we can find something on that one. So it says if A is less than 0, then f of A must be greater than 0. So let's try that. Let's go back and use the same input that we used before. Right here, we said that x is a -2. So let's look at this red line. So the input is negative. F of A must be greater than 0. So if we look at this point right here, the output is definitely greater than 0 because here's the x-axis and here is the output. So that's true. Now, let's go look at the blue line. So here's the output and here's the x-axis. In this case, f of a -2 is not greater than 0. So number 2 is not true. It was true in this case, but it wasn't true in this case. And it must be true in every case. So we can eliminate number 2. So the other thing that we can do is anything that has 2 in it, we can eliminate. So we're down to 2 choices. It's either A or C. And what we also know, because A and C are the only ones left, that means that 1 must be true. All right, so now let's do this one. It says if A, let's do number 3. It says if A is greater than 0, then f of A must be less than 0. So let's go and look. So remember we had this one, this is x equals 2. So f of 2 right here, this is not less than 0. This is greater than 0. Here's the 0 down here, and here's the output. The output is definitely not less than 0. So this one is not true either. So 2 and 3 are not true, and the answer is 1. Okay, so just drawing 2 lines, and then I chose 2 inputs, x equals a -2 and x equals 2, I was able to determine which one of these things were true and which things were not true. I just drew some pictures, and then I put in some numbers for the inputs, and I was able to answer this question. So, and I feel pretty confident about it. So this is a test-taking strategy. When you're given just some very vague information without any numbers, without any actual drawings, the first, if you can, you should try to make your own drawing, and then you should plug in your own values. So plug in, make your drawing. That's the easy way sometimes to do some of these questions. So that's the strategy. So if you like this video, if this was helpful, then go ahead and like this video for me. I think I have a couple more videos that I'm going to do today. I'm kind of losing a little bit of energy, but I'm going to try to get at least one more in. But also, if you are looking for some helpful programs, I have a bunch of programs that are useful. Take a look at some of my other videos, subscribe to my channel, send me your email, and I'll get you those programs. Also, go ahead and click the subscription bell so when I do upload some new material, you guys will be notified. All right, I hope everyone is having a good day. Stay safe. I will talk to you later. Peace.